Hi everyone, I will be giving a presentation on the Teen Services Competencies for Library Staff by YALSA. The Young Adult Library Services Association's mission is to support library staff in alleviating the challenges teens face and in putting all teens, especially those with the greatest needs, on the path to successful and fulfilling lives. These competencies were first published in 1981 and last updated in 2010. The Teen Services Competencies for Library Staff is the latest resource developed to help graduate schools, library administrators, and library staff guarantee that all teens receive high-quality service. These competencies can be used to establish the role library staff play in the library and in the community and to evaluate and improve service. It can also serve as a foundation for library and information science school curriculum, a guide for creating job descriptions and recruitment efforts, a framework for professional development, and a set of guiding principles for use when speaking out for the importance of library services for and with teens. The competencies in each content knowledge area are grouped by 3 levels, beginning with developing, then practicing, and lastly transforming. Each level is a prerequisite to the next, with knowledge and skill in one level required before moving to the next. The developing level describes minimal skills, the practicing level describes the basic understanding, and the transforming level describes the advanced knowledge. Professional dispositions are the ongoing beliefs, values, and commitments that affect library staff's work for and with teens, their families, and the communities, and that impact their own professional growth. One example of these is that libraries respond to challenges and changes with flexibility, perseverance, and cooperation. There are 10 content areas in the Teen Services Competencies for Library Staff. The first content area is teen growth and development, which is the librarian knows the typical benchmarks for growth and development. In the developing disposition, the librarian is aware of basic benchmarks related to teens' development and accepts individual differences in teen development. Practicing disposition, the librarian applies information on teen growth and development, and the transforming connects with library staff and community partners. If we look at the developing disposition, one way that librarians can apply this is to know teenagers and know how they function and who they are. So I'd probably suggest that somebody that wants to go into teen services for a library staff might want to know teens pretty well. Content area 2 is interactions with teens. This recognizes the importance of relationships and communication in the development and implementation of quality teen library services. For developing, librarian listens to and respects all teens' interests, opinions, and cultures. The librarian also maintains a library environment in which the teen confidentiality and privacy is respected. For practicing, librarian collects data and information from teens and community members, and transforming advocates and develops library policies that support positive teen interactions. If we look at the practicing, one way to apply this, for a librarian to apply this, is by using surveys from paper surveys, like handing them out in the library, or even using an electronic survey like Google Form for teens and community members to gather that data. Content area 3 is learning environments. This is librarians cultivate high-quality, developmentally appropriate, flexible learning environments. So for developing disposition, the librarian understands the need to engage in ongoing design and provides resources and materials, physical and digital. For practicing, the librarian provides spaces, physical and virtual, in the library and in the community. And transforming, the librarian regularly reflects on the effectiveness of learning environments. So looking at the transforming disposition, one way a librarian can do this is by being reflective in practices and adjust based off the needs from the reflection, like changing the seating arrangements of an area to better communicate during a certain program. Content area 4 is learning experiences. This is when a librarian works with teens, volunteers, community partners, and others to plan, implement, and evaluate year-round learning. The disposition for developing, the librarian understands the connected learning framework and identifies and obtains resources necessary. For practicing, the librarian builds learning outcomes into the design and implementation of learning activities. And for transforming, the librarian collaborates with other organizations. Looking at practicing for the content area 4, the disposition, for a librarian to implement this, librarian might have objectives for different programs or different classes. Like one of the objectives for the program of that day could be, I'll be able to build one section of a code, and then the larger for the overall unit would be, I'll be able to implement a code to control a robot. Content Area 5 is Youth Engagement and Leadership. The librarian responds to all teens' interests and needs and acts in partnership with teens. For developing, the librarian fosters teens' critical thinking and provides meaningful opportunities for youth voice to be included in the library collection. For practicing, encourages teens and opportunities to connect with community, and transforming, librarian connects with others to amplify youth voice. If we look at the developing for Content Area 5, one way that the librarian can do this is through academic and skill program by fostering the critical thinking skills and goal setting and problem solving. And then also using surveys and polls for voting on books, movies, and other materials to hear that youth voice in the library. Content Area 6 is Community and Family Engagement. The librarian builds respectful, reciprocal relationships with community organizations and families. For developing, the librarian maintains open, friendly, cooperative, and respectful relationships and works effectively with families. For practicing, the librarian engages library staff, family, and community partners in regular discussions. And for transforming, the librarian teaches, mentors, and coaches others. If you look at the developing for Content Area 6, one thing would be being a happy and open person who loves teens, as kind of was said in Content Area 1, and also having an open mindset and knowing that this is what you truly want to do and what you really want to make a positive impact in the library. Content Area 7, Cultural Competencies and Responsiveness. The librarian actively promotes appreciation for cultural diversity. For developing, the librarian is aware of their own cultural beliefs and recognizes and supports individual expression. For practicing, describes own understanding of different cultural groups. And transforming, advocates for hiring culturally diverse library staff. If we look at the developing area for this content area, first thing is that librarian can be ready to discuss own cultural beliefs honestly and professionally with others, especially the teens, and being open and reacting to information in an appropriate way when someone does express their information to you. Content Area 8 is Quality of Access. This is ensuring access to a wide variety of library resources. For developing, communicates the value of intellectual freedom and provides unfettered access to information. Practicing, librarian designs and implements library services. And transforming, librarian expands access to information and resources. If we look at practicing, one way to implement this for a librarian is to find a grant that will allow teens to take a hotspot home for use on a checkout basis. So then the librarian is expanding the services for all teens who are underserved or unserved or underserved. Content Area 9, Outcomes and Assessment. Librarian focuses on the impact of library programs. For developing, the librarian follows the library strategic plan, recognizes the importance of library programmatic evaluation. Practicing, engages in ongoing assessment, and transforming, advocates for informal and formal assessment. If we look at Content Area 9, if we look at developing, one thing librarian can do is that they know what is happening in the position at the library, so what's the strategic plan, how can I follow it, and knows how to evaluate and the procedures around that evaluation. Content Area 10, Continuous Learning. The librarian acts ethically and is committed to continuous learning. For developing, the librarian follows a professional development plan, and they also follow the highest standard of the profession. Practicing, the librarian practices ongoing self-reflection and transforming, mentors grad students, volunteers, and library staff. So if you look at the transforming, which I think is the most important in this one, is mentors, graduates, students, volunteers. And I think this is a big one because the librarian, after knowing these things and after going through all these dispositional levels, that they can help others by being a role model and have them learn what they do in order so they can continue their learning on. If you want to have or want to check out more resources, here's a link right here for the YALSA guidelines and positions papers if you would like some more information. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'm hopefully going to be able to post this presentation. So if you'd like to see things read more deeply than I went over, you can.